printing plate, okay? So when your plates are all finished, all right, you will have something of a print. Daniel and Kayla, you have something of a print from your printing plate, okay? Here are some examples, okay? The nuclear pictogram, eyeball. Now, you've got the example that was hanging up the last few classes of the peacock with the feathers. You can see the stripes are the feathers, Isaac. Can you see this from back there? This is a peacock bird. These are feathers. They're a little bit fluffy on the ends. This was the example that was in the art show down at the convention center 2 years ago, okay? From the Collagraphs. Now, some ideas that did not work out as well were partly because they were on bigger paper. So this year I cut the paper down again, the same size we used, like this. However, the prints are not as visible. So you have to come up with a concrete idea and visualize what the texture is going to do for you on the print, okay? So on this print, we have a birthday cake, all right? So the birthday cake has the circular top and cylindrical underneath, like you see in math or geometry. But for some reason, they put a lot of texture for the sides and for the candles and all, so it got washed out. You couldn't tell what it was, okay? Some more ideas. This one is a mug, okay? So for the mug, the example's washed out as well because they use a lot of texture. This table would be fine for a tiled table. However, the handle is not a thick enough object like yarn or string, so you can't tell what it is. It's been overdone with the ink, okay? And then the top has a lot of unneeded cross-hatching type work from the tape, the drywall tape. And then this one, I don't really have any idea. It looks like a mountaintop actually. And then above it are some clouds. The application of the ink on the printing plate was not consistent throughout. You can see it's thicker in spots. But that's just the basis for how we're going to finish up. Let's talk about some ideas real quickly. Some ideas if you're not aware already that were on the chalkboard. I've written up here on the Promethean board as well so that we can review them, okay? So art generally falls into 3 categories, but we're going to talk about 4 categories here for ideas, and one of them is going to encompass 2 of the 3 categories that art usually falls under. That one is an artistic idea such as it could be love or a type of emotion, or it could be a naturalistic picture, or it could be a religious picture, but in this case we're just going to consider those artistic ideas. You could do a picture from a class or subject for this that is school appropriate, or you could do a picture from a sport. Keeping in mind that letters and numbers do not print because they would be printing backwards. Remember we talked about that? So if you're going to do that, you can either try to do them backwards or leave them out, okay? Leave the textures off of the plate so that when you print it, it won't be backwards, okay? All right, let me review real quickly what it means to collagraph. Collagraph is ink or pigment applied to a collage on a board that is used to print onto paper, okay? Another material used either in printing presses or by hand printing, okay? So in this case, we're going to hand print them. The result is a collagraph. The collagraph printing, calligraphy is really versatile printing process in which a texture plate is inked up and put through a press. In this case, like we said a minute ago, we're going to use our hands, and we're going to use our hands as barons to press down on the back of the paper instead of a printing press, okay? In that, the collagraph plate is then varnished and be printed into a tabular relief. That is our method of creating a printing collagraph, okay? So far, do you guys have any questions? Jada? When I'm finished, yes. I'll write you a pass. Let me finish up this. I'll get them started on the printing. Okay, in the back. There's going to be 2 people printing today. They're all ready. Okay, next. We went over the topics that you could use for your plate to print with. Below that are the materials, okay? So for the materials, I want you to think about the plate, which is this thing right here. It's a piece of mat board in this case. You can use cardboard or foam core, something stiff, all right? You want to do it with a stiff sheet of board. You can cover it with found materials that produce a texture. You're going to ink the plate with a brayer, and then you're going to apply moist paper over top of it for the printing. And then we'll put the moist paper on the drying rack. Can anybody tell me in the room where the drying rack is with a show of hands? Yes, good. The drying rack. We've had a few problems with the drying rack in other classes. I'm not saying this one.
Why?
People are laying down work on top of their work and it sticks because ink and paint is naturally plastic. It sticks. Okay.
Who does that?
Okay. When you're finished, you'll put it on the drying rack. Now, to get the paper moist, you're going to dip it in a trough, that plastic gray trough beside Isaac, and we're going to dry it on a towel, like a bath towel. Okay, so it's moist. The reason being is you get more of a softening of the fibers of the paper, and the paper will adhere to the texture and pull off easier than a dry piece of paper. The dry piece of paper wrinkles and crumbles up, and it doesn't adhere to ink as well. Okay, so we're going to moisten it, and then you're going to pull it out of the trough, and you're going to dry it with a paper towel. All right. Lastly, you can either put your name and edition number and name of the artwork below it, or you can put your name in the bottom right corner. In this case, we're going to do like 3 to 4 prints per person, so you guys get a good pool like this of the print. Okay. At the bottom right would be your name. The bottom left is the edition. So if you do 3 prints, there'll be 1 of 3, 2 of 3, and 3 of 3 in that numerical sequence for your prints on the left side. If you want to do that. Then you could label it with the name of the artwork right in the middle. Okay. So this one might be a pictogram of the nuclear sign. Okay. All right. Keep in mind, as you're building your plates and as we're printing, you guys will do that independently while we're printing in the back. You're building your plates with objects that are just going to print the texture. You're not going to get any printing colors from the textures you're building onto the board. So don't think about yarn that's a specific color or string or supplies that are a specific color on your plate like this, because they're just going to be one colored prints. If you get done, we have either gel medium or acrylic, polyacrylic gloss we're going to coat these plates with, and I'll help you get that. Anybody have any allergies or anything that you know of? Yes? That's not an excuse. I'm talking about oils. Allergies to oils? No.
I don't think any of us would know that. Like this would be our first time being around oil.
Okay. Well, if your skin is very sensitive, I have gloves, or we'll use the gel medium instead, which is plastics. Okay. So, lastly, and then we're gonna start with the printing. Your plate has to be completely dry, the gloss medium and the polyacrylic, before we go ahead and print at the back station. Okay, thanks. Now, who needs materials? Thanks. Okay. You're fine. All right, do you apologize? Good. Okay, so does anybody need materials? Your glue and your scissors are already set up at your table stations. Ian, do you need materials right now? You need to seal yours up, correct? Okay, anybody else ready to seal it with the gel or the acrylic? Okay, let's do this. Send a volunteer from your table to get a few materials, and then I'll get you the gel and the gloss medium for those 2 folks that need that. And we will print.
Somebody should get 2 meals in the table.
And then you're one of the brave soldiers.
Okay. All right, so Ian, get a small cup and scoop some of this out. You can cover your plate with this.
Mr. Actually, you know what happened? Somebody did something to us.
Alright, now, you guys need materials here, you can go get some materials to glue your board. Let me take your drawing, you need a pass, right? Okay, come on up. You're sealing the materials down to the plate.
So this,
Yes, you gotta glue your materials down to it first.
and then seal it.
Yes. Anybody else need materials? Come on up and get your materials to glue down to the plate. Isaac, do you want to get an apron? Samantha, do you want to get an apron? We're going to print. Isaac, there's aprons on the back door. You want to get one so we can print? And Samantha, you ready to print? Samantha, you ready to print? Okay, let's bring your plate to the back and we'll get started. They're in the teal container. Materials in all three drawers. String, start with string. Share with Gavin, he has thinner string. In the back, in the black switcher. Your plate's in the tray, I think.
There's one block on the tray. You can get in front of it. What do you need to get to? Oh, yeah, you can do it.
Your plate?
Yeah.
Isaac, get an apron, I think you can wear one.
You never got what? You never got a charger? I think we've got some now, so come up at lunch today.
Okay, we're gonna move back here now, Mr. Worrell.
Okay.
Can you bring it back with you?
Uh-huh.
Okay, thanks.